Hi everyone, just wanted to jump on here and give you your week 3 announcement. I can't believe we're halfway through the course already. We're gonna be met with some delays around the holidays, so I know we won't be done seeing each other until after the new year, but nonetheless, we are halfway through. Okay, so let's talk about what you're looking at for this week. First, I wanted to apologize officially. I know I posted an announcement yesterday that time kind of slipped away from me this weekend. I was dealing with a little bit of a family issue going on. These are the first holidays that my family and I are going through without our mom. So it's just been a little extra trying on our emotions, I think. And so I just needed a little time to handle myself in that arena. So I apologize for not getting to your post, and you will not be deducted for not responding to me. I did respond to everyone last night, so you can at least go back and see what I posted to your post. So my apologies for that, and I appreciate your flexibility and understanding with all of that. Okay, so week 3, let's talk about this. We are going to be covering person-centered and Gestalt therapy this week, 2 of my very favorite. If I had to identify with a theoretical orientation, person-centered therapy would probably be what I would most identify with. I think it is best fitting for my style of counseling. I wholeheartedly believe that each and every client that we see has it within themselves to know what they need to change, to implement the changes, to change your behavior, etc. It's all within inside of you already. It just needs some help kind of coming to the surface. And so I often tell my clients that I'm their co-pilot. And that's kind of how I view that. So we're going to be discussing person-centered therapy, and Carl Rogers was the big founder of that theoretical orientation. He's often referenced as the quiet revolutionary because his work still is very prevalent in today's counseling work as well. And some of his concepts that he's given to the counseling world are still widely used. I think what I like the most about his theory is the emphasis on equality between the therapist and the client. It is very important for me, for my clients, to understand that I am first human, and that I too go through things. I make mistakes, I mess up, I say the wrong thing, I get in relationship issues, I, struggle with anxiety, etc., etc. So I think I really appreciate that coming from Roger's work, that we are equal and there is no, me above them sort of idea. You'll notice in the video that you're required to watch that the therapist will not give the client advice. And you saw me comment, I think our first week in, about how graduate school, you hear a lot about not giving the client advice. And I think that this is the first theory that kind of specifically addresses that, and really turns it back onto the client to ask that same question. Well, what do you think you should do? Or what are you feeling is the right thing for you, etc. So that's where that idea comes from. Okay, so then we're going to talk about Gestalt therapy, and the ideas that were developed in this theory, mainly that people are understood in the within the context of their relationships. The other big thing that was brought to the surface through Gestalt is the now concept, and that's essentially just bringing your past into the present. So you'll hear the therapist ask a lot of questions like, what does that feel like now? Where are you experiencing that in your body right now? As the person kind of recollects the things that they've experienced in the past. It's very helpful in sessions, and I use it a lot. So moving on to some of your submissions, you're going to do write a paper on the necessary characteristics, and that is directly related to the person-centered 3 attributes. You'll start to see it discussed on page 178 and move through in more detail through 184. And also I do want to emphasize that don't feel like you have to stay in the textbook. You can go outside of the text and do research on these attributes other places. I will always encourage you to look at other sources of information, particularly scholarly sources like journal articles, things that have been researched. I think it's supplemental information that you can only grow and learn from. So don't hesitate to move beyond our textbook and really explore what these concepts mean and how they look in therapy. We're going to do another core functions assignment, this time covering case management, crisis intervention, and client education. And then we're going to talk about co-occurring disorders. You will also hear this referred to as dual diagnosis as well. You'll kind of hear those terms kind of interchangeably used. So we're going to do a case study on Jose and answer the questions on the case study. So pretty straightforward there. But if you have any questions about this or any of the other assignments or discussion posts, don't hesitate to reach out to me as always. Please remember, I'm seeing this a lot in your assignments that I've already graded, that APA formatting is required on all of your assignments now. So make sure you're including cover pages, a reference page, in-text citations, etc. in all your assignments. The one thing that you do not have to do anymore is a running head and header. In the newest edition of the APA, the 7th edition, they have done away with the requirement of the header and running head unless you intend on publishing your work. For the purposes of our work together, I don't believe that any of you plan to move on and publish this. I am going to leave it up to you to choose whether you want to use a header or not. I think it's always good practice to get into doing this because you may find yourself in graduate school having to do headers. So it's always good to practice those things. I will give you my feedback on it. However, if you do include a header, I expect it to be written correctly, and I can take points off for not doing it correctly. So there's the only caveat to that, is that if you use it, I need you to do it right. Or you stand the chance of losing some points for the APA requirement of the rubric. So just take note of that. It is not a requirement of you from me. Now, I don't know what your other professors are doing, but for me, I'm not requiring that. So you can choose to do with that what you want. Okay, I think that covers just about all of what I wanted to talk about. So I hope that you guys are having a good week so far. I hope your Thanksgiving was blessed, and I will look forward to having more discussions with you over in our discussion forums. Have a good week.